Well, welcome back to another video of Terror and Tarot with Libra Empress. I hope that you had a wonderful week and that your Friday went just as great. Thank you so much for joining me today. I missed you guys. This has been the highlight of my week, is just being able to watch these with you guys and then do the dead tarot with you. Alright, so this is just my regular message on the screen, because, this is for our entertainment. Now, there we go. So, I am not going to show you my cards like I usually do, because I'm in my room, and I'll probably do this for the next couple videos too, just because, I like being in my room. But that's not going to stop me from getting the message to you and watching this with you, alright? Now this is 3 dark web horror stories animated by IMR Scary Tales. If you haven't checked them out yet, do subscribe to them. They're great. I like listening to their and watching their videos. Sometimes they freak me out, I'm not going to lie. I'm a chicken shit. But I appreciate them nonetheless. Okay. My cards are ready for the spread when we're done. Okay, let's get going on this, shall we?
Hey guys, today's video is sponsored by NordVPN. VPN is a virtual private network which allows you to browse the internet without trace. Did you know that it's possible for hackers and cybercriminals to track what you do online? You could be buying something from your favorite site one minute, and the next, someone could get a hold of your credit card information. You need anonymity and concealment when browsing the web by using NordVPN. It allows you to connect to a virtual IP address anywhere in the world. It encrypts your personal online data, protecting you from unwanted spying by your internet service provider or hackers attempting to breach your devices, preventing the likelihood of malware and phishing attempts. And the awesome thing is, you can connect up to 6 devices or more on a single account. Another awesome feature of NordVPN is that you can see content that is not available in your area. Have you ever tried searching for your favorite show on Netflix, but for some reason it does not pop up in the search results? That may be because of your location. So what do? Log into NordVPN, change your location to any one of the supported countries, and there you go, like magic. If you are not happy with the service, they have a 30-day money-back guarantee, so there is no risk in trying it out. NordVPN is having their special birthday deal. Every purchase of a 2-year plan will get you 1 additional month free and a surprise gift. Go to nordvpn.com/IMR and use code IMR in the description box. Buy a 2-year plan with a huge discount and automatically get extra time as a gift. Depending on your luck, you'll get 1 month, 1 year, or 2-year extra subscription, which will be automatically added on top of the plan you bought. Check out the description box for more. This true incident of my life can be quite disturbing for many viewers. I myself am also ramsacked by the impact of this incident that I can barely sleep at night. I would like to keep my identity hidden, so for the sake of the story, you can call me Ted. Since childhood, I was different than other kids of my age. I still remember the first time I witnessed death. I was playing in our backyard when a pigeon broke its neck and fell in front of my monster truck. I don't know why a thrilling sensation grabbed me that day. Instead of calling for help, I crushed the suffering pigeon with my truck. The pigeon flopped its wings, and blood kept flowing from its smashed head. As I grew up, this feeling of seeing blood flow grew too. I sometimes used to bite my own lips just to taste some drops of blood. I won't deny, I like the salty flavor of it, even more than any dessert. When I was 12 years old, my mother went to visit my grandmother, and I was home alone. Our neighbor next door came to cook some food for me. Miss Harrison made me some steaks that night. While chopping the meat, she accidentally cut her finger with our sharp kitchen knife. She went to the washroom to dress her wound and told me to wash the knife as it had drops of her blood. As soon as she disappeared from sight, I secretly licked the knife and tasted her blood. I won't lie, it felt amazing. Soon, I came to realize that I possess a very weird fantasy which, in other terms, can be compared to cannibalism. No matter how many types of meat I had my entire life, nothing beats the taste of human blood and flesh. With more days passing by, my weird fantasy started to make me anxious. I was looking for a way to make it come true by tasting actual human flesh. You must understand that I'm not a killer. My intention was never to hurt anyone on purpose, but I couldn't help myself with this hidden fantasy either. I was going through a troubled time then. My father died from a heart attack, and our family fell apart. He was admitted to the hospital for a long time. On the day of his death, when my mom and grandparents were busy talking to the doctors and paying the medical bills, I sneaked into the hospital morgue. I saw a fresh.
Started with one tooth here, one tooth there, and then it's just, before I know it, I'm 55 and I want my
Fresh dead bodies lying there. It was probably lunchtime, so there was no stuff there. I was completely aware of the security cameras, so I chose a dead body laying in the corner of the morgue. I carefully got close to it without revealing my face to the camera. I used a small surgical knife that I stole from my high school lab. I cut a few pieces of flesh from the body and ate it. Even though the flesh was a bit stiff, it tasted like heaven. I finally realized I am a cannibal. I finished high school and decided to study medical science so that I can remain close to dead bodies. My first year of college went by tasting dead people's meat. I used to cut out selective body parts from the cadavers kept in the lab of our medical school, then have them as my dinner. Things weren't great, but I was addicted to it. One day, I was sitting in my room and browsing through the dark web when I came across a site named Cannibal Cafe Forum. This cannibalistic forum is about eating people and being eaten by people. Here, people log in requests to get eaten or eat others, talk about their cannibalistic fantasies. For example, a note under the website read, "The Cannibal Cafe Forum is dedicated to covering a full range of cannibalistic fantasy." The topics here deal with fantasies involving consenting adults. The more I searched that site, the more my curiosity increased. Some people willingly wanted to be victims of cannibalism. I was shocked and extremely excited to find out about this site. I logged on and started to take part in chats on that forum. I had no friends, no girlfriend, and I hardly visited my family after moving out for college. I wanted to keep my life as private as possible to avoid any source of suspicion from anyone. Every day, after coming back from college, my routine was to sit in front of my computer and explore the Cannibal Cafe forum. People posted ads on that forum expressing their desire to get eaten and tasted by others. For me, it was like my own custom shopping site. I thought everything through and decided to post an ad myself. As I said already, I am not a killer, so all I wanted was a volunteer to make my fantasy come true. People used to talk about tasting human flesh, how to cut a human body in perfect pieces, what kind of recipes should be followed for a certain part of a body, and so on. I posted an ad that read, "Looking for a volunteering victim to assist for a few of my recipes. Interested candidates, mail me." Every night after coming home, I checked the page to see if someone has responded to my ad or not. A few weeks passed, and nothing happened. I almost lost interest in this forum. I started to doubt the entire setup as a scam. A part of my mind kept telling me, none of this is actually real people. People who are claiming to be cannibals just like me are not at all criminals in real life. This is probably a hoax just to spook people about the dark web. I was on the verge of deleting my account and move on with my terrible secret when a reply popped up on my ad. It was a rainy Saturday night. I rented an apartment for myself. I used to work at a medical store on an internship basis to earn some cash. I had no social life as such, so my expenses were quite minimum in comparison to other college-going boys and girls. I came home completely drenched that night. I stormed into my room and opened my computer like every other day. I logged into the page and went to freshen up. While I took a shower in my bathroom, I kept hearing the sound of notifications coming from my computer. Within 5 to 7 minutes, I came back to my seat and saw 2 notifications. The first notification was a comment on my ad. I opened it up and saw a reply reading, "Hi, I am a 42-year-old woman. I would like to connect with you further. Please accept my chat request." The next notification was a request sent from a profile named Bloody Zoe. I knew this wasn't her actual name, but anyways, I accepted her request. Irrespective of her age, I was eager to talk to her. because I wasn't looking for anything more than tasting actual flesh from a volunteering victim. As we started to chat, I kind of started to feel fascinated by her words. Zoe said that she too has a weird sensation.
I spent 25 years researching men living to 110 or 120. I discovered one
Towards the entire act of cannibalism. She was looking for an opportunity to be a part of this actual act, and that's when she found my ad. I asked her, many people have posted ads before me, so what made her interested in mine? To which she replied that she is new to the page and her fantasies are different from others. She wants me to cut her layers of skin slowly and taste her blood, but she doesn't want any gruesome violence or torture during the process. I knew then and there that she will be a perfect match. I told her that it will be great if she could meet me so we can take the matter forward. She says she will eventually, but before that, she will prefer if we talk for a few days to know each other well. I had no issues with that. We started to chat regularly on the forum. I even posted some of my recipes with the body parts of the cadavers I collected to fulfill my fantasy. With more days passing, Zoe and I became quite close, but we never shared any details regarding our personal life. We made a pact that after we are done tasting each other's blood one time, we will break all ties and move on to other possible candidates. So, after a wait of 2 months, the day finally arrived. We decided to meet at a completely unknown location. I didn't tell her my address, and she too did the same. We selected a random cafe to meet around 7 p.m. sharp. I hadn't seen her, neither had she seen me. It was going to be a weirdly fascinating experience for both of us. To resolve the issue of identification, I texted her, "How will you recognize me?" Zoe replied, "I will tie a red scarf around my hand, and you also do the same." On my way home from college, I bought a red scarf from the clothing store. I barely slept that night. I was all excited to meet this woman and make my fantasy come true. The cafe was at 20 minutes distance from my place. I got ready and took my car keys. I dropped a text on the chat box of Cannibal Cafe to notify Zoe that I am on my way. Zoe too replied back that she will get there in time, just how we discussed. I drove really fast that night and reached the cafe before time. I looked at the clock, it was 6:50 p.m. There were still 10 minutes left. I booked a table for the two of us and started to wait. I got up in the middle to go to the washroom. I took the scarf with me. While coming out of the washroom, I started to tie the scarf on my hand. Suddenly, my eyes went to the entrance. I saw a woman with a red scarf tied around her hand closing the cafe door after coming inside. Her back was facing me. I was sure that this is Zoe, with no doubt because there was no one else with a red scarf on their hand inside the cafe. I looked at my watch, and it was 7 p.m. sharp. I was about to walk towards her when she finally turned towards me, and my life shattered at that very moment. I was right about her name not being Zoe, because I know her name. And not just her name, I know her very well. The woman with whom I fantasized about fulfilling my cannibalistic urges on the dark web is none other than my very own mother. Yes, my mom was standing at the cafe door. Her eyes were transfixed on me. We were both standing like statues with red scarves tied to our hands. I couldn't believe all the things she told me these past 2 months. My mom, she is just like me, or I am just like her. My head was banging. I had no clue what to do. My mom stood there numb, expressionless for a few seconds, then stormed out of the cafe like lightning. It has been 4 years now. I haven't seen her, haven't talked to her. My grandparents have no idea about this, I think. I don't even know where my mom is now. Last time, when Nana called me, she said Mom took a job in the UK and left this country. She asked me what went wrong with her suddenly. I obviously couldn't answer. I don't know what to do. I have deleted my account from the Cannibal Cafe forum. I haven't visited the dark web since the incident. I am trying to be a vegan now, but seriously, will I be able to face my own mother ever in life?
If you love Home Depot, you're going to love Capital One shopping even more. You can get promo codes for
Oh, God. That's a weird story. I'm sorry. That that shit threw me just as much as I think it threw you. But then she did say she was 42, and I think he said he was in high school or he was in college barely. So I guess that makes sense. I don't fucking know. That's gross. That was a horrible story. What a weird predicament. Thank God I'm not in that predicament. Wouldn't you guys agree? That's gotta be weird. Good story so far, though. Okay. Let's do the dead spread. I already pulled out 12 cards. Let's get going on this, yeah? So, first card is, what was this person's purpose in this life? Their purpose in this life was to fall. Does that make sense? It wasn't supposed to go exactly as planned. They were supposed to gain humility. What were you to learn from this person's life? You were to learn that not everybody is like able to work together. Okay? Life's hard. And because of their life not being able to reach out and ask for help, now you know that you should ask for help to make your life not as hard. Does that make sense? What were you to learn from their death? Love. You were to learn love and compassion. What was the reason behind their death? They could have had a surfing accident, something to do with water. Water in general, they could have drowned. How are you to use what you'll gain from them? You'll learn to not dwell on things. And that it's okay to process them and then move on. What do they want you to know? They want you to know that someone is pulling your strings and manipulating you. Okay? What is their greatest memory? Their greatest memory was giving of themselves all the time. Right? Everybody wanted a piece of them all the time. What do they need that you can do for them? Make a choice. Okay? Make any choice. Decide. Don't sit still. You should cherish your life. I know that seems like a far stretch, but it's true. Okay? And I'm with them on this one. How do they see you? They see you as someone who's not focusing on your intuition. You're not paying attention to what's going on around you. You're just... It's just... You're not focusing on the right things. And they see you as that. What advice, wisdom, secret can they share with you? What they can tell you is that in their day and age, when something breaks, they fix it, they didn't throw it away. So you're going through some stuff and you should stay and fix what's going on in your life before you decide to throw it away. Give it like one more chance, okay? How do they prefer to be contacted? Through your dreams. They know that you're going through a lot of mental illness, depression, and whatnot. Focus on your dreams, okay? What last words do they have for you? Their last words are this: there's going to be a tower moment. It's a sudden change. Now you can take it as a good or bad. It all depends on your perspective, right? But it's coming. And you've got to make a choice. Alright? You can't just sit and twiddle your thumbs. Otherwise, it'll steamroll over you and you won't know what to do or where to pick yourself up. Okay? Let's move on to the next tarot video. Just kidding, it's terror video. Story number 2. Oh, sorry about the ads.
Before I begin this story, I want to warn everyone to stay away from dark web. Last month, I had a small gathering at my place. I invited a couple of my office colleagues, and we all drank and watched a football match. It was a men's night out, hence, everyone got really drunk and lost track of time. There were 3 of us, me and my 2 colleagues, Max and Andy. We work in the IT department of a multinational company. The night was going well, but suddenly, Max brought up the topic of dark web. He said in a serious tone, "Very few people have the actual guts to surf the dark web. If you lost your way there, you have no idea what horrible things will come up." In my college days, I also accessed dark web once or twice, but nothing horrible took place. I said in a mocking tone, "Well, I think people spread a lot of rumors about the dark web. It's not that dangerous at all." Andy said, I never want to step in that arena. One of my college seniors told me that a guy ordered drugs from the dark web once, but instead, someone sent him the dust of human bones, which he snorted. I said in a surprised voice, "What? What happened to him?" Andy replied while taking a sip from his beer bottle, "That guy barely got out alive. My senior told me he bled terribly from his nose." I laughed and said, "I think your senior lied, dude. I can show you dark web is not that scary at all." I got up and turned on my laptop. Max and Andy sat beside me on the couch, and we started to surf the dark web using the Tor browser. I was drunk and got adamant. I still regret going to the dark web just to prove a stupid point that night. I was going through the hidden wiki of the dark web. There were a bunch of links to various sites. We found a site that helps you to hire a hitman, and then a site where you can upload torture videos and earn money from the viewership. The more I searched, the weirder everything started to become. Max said, "Dude, can't believe some people can be this creepy in real life." I was about to click a new page when Andy pulled my attention to a link. The link read, http://truefootages.onion. I said, "Let's check out this link." Max grabbed my hand and said, "I don't think we should click on random links, Matthew. Let's just get out of this and watch the game." Seems like you are not one of those people who have the guts to surf the dark web, huh? I later realized how I insulted him, but I know I should have listened to Max that night. Without saying anything more, I clicked on the link. The screen started to load. Andy and Max kept staring at the screen with big wide eyes. I thought it would be some kiddish jump scare or something similar to that, but as the page finished loading, a zip file started to download on my laptop. Andy said, "Hey, it can be some virus, you know. It can crash your machine." I replied saying, "I have a strongly built antivirus and the system would have blocked the download if it was a virus in the first place." Anyways, after the file downloaded, I extracted it in my laptop and it came across with 3 MP4 files in it. I finished my beer in one sip and said, "Are you ready to watch some dark web footages?" and smirked. Max and Andy were curious too, so they nodded. As I played the first footage, a small wooden house appeared on the screen. The house was located in the countryside. The person who took the footage started to walk towards the house. As he opened
I spent 25 years researching men living to 110 or 120. I discovered one food.
the door, we saw old furniture and damp clothes lying here and there. It was evident from the condition of the house that no one lives there. We could hear the heavy breathing of the person who had the camera in his hand, but it was hard to guess whether it's a man or a woman. The person stopped near the stairs, standing in the living room. I was obviously getting bored, but suddenly, Andy said in a whispering tone, "Did you hear that sound?" I asked, "What sound?" He said, "Listen carefully. I think someone's crying." I immediately increased the volume and realized Andy is right. There was actually the sound of a man sobbing. The man was crying like he's in terrible pain. The camera started to go upstairs. Now, Our heartbeats got faster. As the person with the camera reached upstairs, the video ended. Without any hesitation, I played the second video. The second video started showing a corridor lying ahead of the camera. This time, the cry could be heard more clearly. The camera kept moving towards the corridor, and it came near the door. Max said, "I think there's someone inside the room." Andy shushed him, saying, "Watch it quietly." Now, the person behind the camera went to open the doorknob, and we saw a pale-looking skinny hand with lots of rings on its fingers. The red nail polish on those fingers made the hand look even creepier. We realized it's a woman, probably in her late 40s, filming this video. As she twisted the doorknob and opened the door, a vicious sight took place. There was an old man tied up to a chair placed in the middle of the room. It was this man's cry we heard on the first footage. Seeing the woman with the camera, the man started to cry even louder. The fearful look on his face made it all look so real. The man said in a sobbing and gasping voice, "Please, Julia, let me go. Why are you doing this to me? Please, don't hurt me. Let me go, Julia." We heard the woman laughing in a very disturbing way. It was evident from her laughter that she was enjoying this man's pain. She placed the camera on a wooden stand or something like that. Now the camera is still, and it is focusing on the man tied up to the wooden chair. Andy said in a panicked voice, "Is this all real?" This time, I got really confused. I wasn't expecting something like this at all. The man kept sobbing, and there was no sign of that woman for a few moments. Suddenly, the woman jumped in front of the camera from the left corner. It almost gave us all a heart attack. She started to laugh, looking at the camera like a maniac. Her eyes were big and she had a pale face. The way she stared at the camera, it gave us all goosebumps. Max even said, "I feel like she can see me. What the hell is this all?" The woman slowly moved her head and looked at the man. Then, she again looked back at the camera and gestured her finger in her lips. Andy said, "This woman is freaking insane. Is she telling us to keep quiet? What kind of bizarre video is this?" I was speechless with everything that was happening in front of my eyes. The woman picked up something from the ground. We couldn't see what it was, but as soon as she started to walk towards the man's behavior changed in a second. The man started to panic like a fish out of water. He said, "No, Julia, no, you can't do this to me. I am your husband. Julia, please, don't do this." The woman reached behind his back and lifted her hand. She was holding a chainsaw in her hand. Her evil smile made my heart drop to my stomach. She again looked at the camera and shushed like before. The man was crying and sobbing, and the video ended there. The three of us sat silently on the couch, looking at the laptop screen flashing the third video file on it. I was literally shivering. Max was breathing heavily. Andy said in a trembling voice, "Should we watch the last video? What do you think happens in that?" Max got up and said, "Damn you, Matthew, I told you to stop." I hit my face with my palm. My forehead was covered with sweat. Then I said, I don't know." Andy played the last video. What we saw next shook us for our entire lives. The man was no more on that chair. The wall behind him was painted in blood. There was blood splattered all over the room. Our eyes were stuck on the screen. Our hearts were beating like wild horses. When we saw that woman coming in front of the camera from the left side again, her head was down looking at the floor. Her hair covered her partial face. I could tell she was holding something in her hand. She then stopped and turned towards the camera. Her face was still looking down. She started to cry like a child. Her cry was making everything even more uncomfortable now. She cried, standing like that for a few more seconds, and then suddenly lifted her hand with the bloody head of her dead husband. Yes, she was holding the severed head of that man in the chair. She started to laugh like a maniac while showing off his head towards the camera. Her eyes were glowing. She was looking like the devil from hell. Max gasped, "Oh my God, did she really kill her husband with a chainsaw?" And immediately started to throw up on the floor. I was numb. I couldn't move, couldn't take my eyes away. The woman then got really close to the camera and gestured her bloody finger onto her lips and said in a whispering voice, "Shh, keep quiet." The video ended there. All of us remained awake the entire night. Andy got really sick. We admitted him to the hospital as he had a nervous breakdown after watching the video. We took the footage to the cops and told them everything. The cops are still investigating and looking for a woman named Julia who cut her husband's head off with a chainsaw and posted the entire incident on the dark web. If anyone comes across this woman, please let the cops know about it. I have no doubt that she is a mentally unstable woman roaming free with murderous intentions hidden inside.
This Chinese street artist isn't drawing his female customer. He's drawing her soulmate. He first
Oh my gosh. Well, that was terrifying. I couldn't do that to my own spouse, let alone imagine someone else doing it to theirs. I mean, why even be with someone if you're gonna hurt them? Right? Damn. Oh, that ad that comes on with the Chinese artist. Yeah, they take down your information and then the picture is like $20 American. Or it was last night. I didn't buy it or anything. I was going to, looking to see how much it cost. But yeah. Holy crap. Okay, so here's my next pile of the dead spread. Let's see what's going on here. Okay, what was this person's purpose in this life? It was to get attention. Because I guess in their past life they didn't get a whole lot of attention. What were you to learn from this person's life? You were to learn not to rush into situations with lack of emotion, to be a little more sympathetic. What were you to learn from their death? You were to learn that sometimes people get negative feedback. I don't know if at their funeral someone gave a speech or something in regards to, like on like a eulogy or something. They gave a negative speech. What was the reason behind their death? They were shot. It had to do with the strings attached. They didn't owe up on their end of the bargain. I'm sorry. How are you to use what you'll gain from them? You'll learn from their mistakes and you'll change your life for the better. Okay? You move away from all the toxic people and try to better yourself so you don't end up in that same boat. What do they want you to know? They want you to know that sometimes life is unpredictable and not to give up, to come at whatever you're doing from a new approach. What is their greatest memory? The greatest memory was when they gave up fighting and realized that sometimes peace is more important than war. What do they need that you can do for them? They want you to stand still, cherish the life you have, even though you'll be moving on, but you know what I mean? Take a breather and reassess your situation. How do they see you? They see you as someone who is going to build their empire from the ground up. Here's a very intelligent, sharp-tongued, and unscrupulous Queen of Swords. What advice, wisdom, secret can they share with you? Sometimes being not so patient isn't going to get you anywhere. Alright? So slow your roll on that front. How do they prefer to be contacted? Through your prayers. You can even just like stand around and talk to them. They're watching you, guarding you. Help and guide you in your new tasks and motivation. What last words do they have for you? Sometimes you're going to have choices and they're going to be difficult. But the point is to make a choice. Alright? And you're going to have so many, and it's not even going to be just like right now, but over time you're going to keep getting all these choices, and it's going to be beautiful what you put together for yourself. Alright? Alright. Let's move on to the next video. It's video number 3.
I'm Eva, and this is my story. I have a sister named Ivy. We have always been active kids since childhood. We often took part in sports during high school. My sister Ivy is a professional gymnast. Needless to say, she has a strong build and can be quite competitive to many grown-ups. Last year, I applied to the same college where my sister is now a senior. Our father died when we were very young. We have been raised by our grandparents and our mother. Ivy and I have always been the adventurous types. I still remember when I was just 5 years old and Ivy was 7. We used to roam around on our own. One night, we went to the woods and a wild dog chased us. Instead of running away and crying out loud, Ivy and I scared it off by throwing stones at it. We have always been a team, but sometimes too much of curiosity can ruin your life. This is exactly the kind of incident that taught both of us a lesson to remember forever. On my first day of college, I was super excited, like every other young girl. Especially, I was relieved to have my sister to watch my back. Our college was really big. Young boys and girls were roaming in the entire college with joyful faces and heart full of dreams. Ivy introduced me to her friends and her boyfriend, Mark. I made a couple of friends on my own too, but during the weekends, I like to hang out with my sister and her group. Similarly, on Saturday night, Ivy held a party at her place. Around 1 a.m., all of her friends left for home. Her boyfriend Mark asked if he should stay over, but Ivy said we are going to drink more and have some sister time. Mark smiled and said, "Have fun, you guys, and don't do something dangerous, Ivy." He left then. I asked my sister, why did he say that before leaving? Ivy laughed and said, "You know me, Eva. I joked around a lot in my first years. My friends even called me Miss Prankster." We shared a laugh because Ivy is actually like that. We sat down on the couch and opened our beer bottles. I shared how my friends were talking about the dark web a few days back. I suddenly saw Ivy's face lighting up with a smile. She said, "Hey Eva, want to play a game on the dark web?" I said in an awkward tone, What game?" She replied, "It's a treasure hunt game. I've played this game once within my first year, but this is a very groovy game. Basically, after you log in, the game will map your location, then a clue will appear. By solving each clue, you will go ahead in the game. At the final round after solving the last clue, you will receive a coordinate that will lead you to your treasure. It'll be a destination near your location. We have to go there and look at the exact place instructed by the game, and there we will find our treasure. Let's play. It'll be fun." I said in a suspicious voice, "Did you guys actually find any treasure earlier?" Ivy said in a low voice, "Last time, we found a coordinate leading us to an abandoned garage. There, we found $1,000 in an old toolbox. We have no idea who kept it. Even though those notes were rusty and old, we exchanged them in a pawn shop and got brand new notes. We drank a lot in the pub with cash. Being honest, this game got me interested. I mean, it was a real-life treasure hunt after all. I immediately agreed to Ivy, and we decided to play the game together. Ivy logged into her laptop. As she opened the game page, a dark layout flashed in front of our eyes. There was a human skull that had a tagline, "You will never be able to guess the treasure." The game started with a man standing in a dark alley. We had to move the character towards the end of the alley. The end had a wooden door. As we opened the door,
Want to save money on your Amazon purchases? Then you need this. You have to try Capital One shopping.
a small girl with a smashed face stood inside the room. I must say, even though it was game graphics, at that time of the night, the girl's face kind of creeped me out. The girl was singing in a very spooky voice. The music playing in the background added to the horror of this game. The game was nothing like a normal treasure hunt. It felt as if some cult group has designed the game. There were bizarre satanic signs made on the walls of the corridors. Not just the get-up of the game, but also the clues were hella scary. For example, a clue read, "The little girl who stares at you never sleeps. When she cries, her eyes bleed." Every clue revealed the other characters in the game, and each game gave us a double-digit number. Ivy told me, "Note down this number. These are the coordinates." The game went on for half an hour more, and we finally reached the last character, which was a ram-like figure sitting on a throne. It was probably Satan himself. I said, "This game is very weird. I don't like at all the look of this game." Ivy smirked at me and said, "Well, sis, this is the dark web, not just some random PC gaming site." Ivy clicked on the last character, and the ram-like figure spoke in its demonic voice. "You have reached your end. Now it's time for your reward." The last digit of the coordinate appeared on the screen, and the game ended. Before Ivy could log out from the page, suddenly her laptop crashed. She said in a surprised voice, "What the hell? This didn't happen last time." No matter how much we tried, her laptop stopped responding. I said in a scared voice, "Some of my friends told me these dark websites are prone to virus attacks. I don't think you should go there anymore." Ivy restarted the laptop, but she couldn't find the game anymore. Anyways, we turned it off, and I said, "I'm tired now. I better get some sleep." Ivy got up and said, "What do you mean? You can't sleep now. We have to go to the destination. Come on, buckle up." I looked at my watch. It was 2:30 a.m. at night. I said in a tensed voice, Ivy, I don't think it's safe to go out to some unknown destination at this hour of the night." Ivy looked at me with her drunk eyes and said, "Come on, kiddo. Gather your shit together." I had no other way than to go with my sister. I knew she was not going to back out once she has made up her mind. We hopped inside the car, and Ivy put the coordinates from the gate in her GPS. The destination was 15 minutes distance from our location. For some extra info, my sister's place is already in the outskirts of the city. The location that popped up was taking us to some barren field-like area. I was really worried, thinking this can be some kind of a trap or God knows what, so I secretly texted Ivy's boyfriend Mark, who happened to live nearby our house. Luckily, Mark was still awake. He texted me back saying he will reach there soon. After a small bridge, we came near an abandoned farmhouse. There were vast fields around us, and the old farmhouse stood like a haunted house from a freaking ghost movie. Ivy got out and lit up her flashlight. I had no other choice than to follow her. We locked the car and started to walk towards the farmhouse. As soon as we reached near the door, we heard car horns honking nearby. I was relieved to see Mark's car. Mark got out and rushed towards us with an angry face. He hurled at Ivy saying, "Grow up, Ivy. This is not a time to joke around. Let's go back home. Enough is enough." Ivy looked at me with a pissed-off face and replied, "You two are very boring. I will go back home once I check this farmhouse." As I already said, my sister was adamant at that time. We got inside and realized this farmhouse has faced a severe fire. The walls and the wood were black and filled with cobwebs. Mark said, "I'm telling you, there's no treasure here. Let's go." Ivy suddenly reached near a bumpy surface and said, "This is the exact coordinate. I'm telling you guys, there's something under the ground buried here. Let's dig it up." I knew without watching what was under the ground. My sister is not going back. So Mark picked up an iron rod lying in the corner and started to dig. After a few minutes of digging, the iron rod hit onto a plastic-like thing. We discovered a black garbage bag underneath. Ivy went to open the bag with an excited face, but as soon as she saw what's inside, she screamed and fainted on the ground. Mark and I found a bloody knife and some blood-soaked clothes in it. We went to the cops the next morning. The cops found out it was evidence from a murder case that the killer tried to hide. I haven't kept track of this incident further because it was utterly disturbing. Ivy is now scared of playing any kind of video game. She never went to the dark web after that incident.
Oh, wow. Okay. Whew. That is eerie. I keep hearing about these stories of the dark web. I've never... If I want to trash my computer, I will, like, go on... I don't know. You know what I mean? I don't know. I don't know how to get on the dark web. It's, like, I don't know. Anyway, let's get started on this, shall we? This is the last dead spread. Let's see who we connect with. So... here we go. What was this person's purpose in life? This person's purpose in life was to help people through paranoia. They were like a healer. What were you to learn from this person's life? You were to learn to let go and to heal yourself and sever ties. What were you to learn from their death? You were to learn that they were a completely different person than you expected them to be. Right? Everybody saw them differently. Like, I bet you didn't know that they had drinking problems at one point or another. What was the reason behind their death? They got hit by a car. How are you to use what you'll gain from them? You'll learn not to judge them until you have all the facts. What do they want you to know? They want you to stop raging against fate, okay? That things happen for a reason and you're gonna be just fine. What is their greatest memory? Their greatest memory was having the courage to face their fears. And they were also an avid hunter. Like, they went out shooting with a parent or a sibling. I don't know, it was a long time ago. What do they need that you can do for them? They need you to look in the mirror and fix yourself. Pull yourself away from those vices and know that there's more to life than what's going on there, okay? How do they see you? They see you as someone who's constantly fighting with your family. There's a lot of discontentment at home, problems. What advice, wisdom, secret can they share with you? Stop looking to the past. Okay? Stop dwelling there. You don't live there anymore. How do they prefer to be contacted? Through your prayers. What last words do they have for you? Life is full of lessons, alright? And you're supposed to go through each cycle and learn your lesson and move on. They want you to know that it's okay and that, yeah, it's scary at first. But once you step your foot over that threshold and you keep going, it becomes less scary and more thrilling, okay? And there is life after death, if that makes sense. Alright. Thank you so much for listening to me. Thank you so much for watching these, what is it called? 3 dark web horror stories animated by IMR Scary Tales. I really enjoyed watching that with you. Some of them freaked me the fuck out, I'm not gonna lie. But do check them out, they're really great. And I will see you next week for Terror and Tarot with me, Libra Empress. Okay? I love you. Bye, my beautiful friends. Stay safe. Have a great weekend.